My dad came from a big family, had 6 brothers and sisters, and my Uncle Wendell sold insurance and Amway. Okay. Not the most popular uncle that I had.
I can imagine.
So we kind of avoided
He didn't get
him.
invited to too many family events.
No,
I guess,
every time we had a family reunion, I avoided Uncle Wendell. Yeah. But in any event, we're going to talk a little bit about insurance here because it is a topic that turns people off, but it's an important thing at this point in your life. When you are getting married and then you start having children, somebody looks at you and says, have you got life insurance? And you go, yeah, I guess I better handle that. So What do? You go out and you buy a term policy for another 20 or 30 years that handles things. And then you get into your late 50s, your kids grow up, and that policy expires. And you go, well, now what do I need? I'm going into my 60s and the next 30 years. What do I need for insurance? So talk to me. What does that conversation look like?
Yeah, it's it often comes up in the planning process. It'll be like, hey, I know you wanted to see a Social Security benefit amount and a 401k and pension assumptions and budget of what we need, and also we brought out life insurance policies that we have, and it's a term policy like you mentioned, or it's a universal life policy or whatever it might be. And we want to know that because we want to know kind of what protection's in place and also how much is that protection costing, right? Okay. We want to know that as well. And we're big advocates of life insurance, but there has to be a purpose for it.
Okay.
Right? It can't be blindly just, well, you need life insurance. So maybe, but let's make sure that if we're spending money, there's a need for it, right? And that it's serving a purpose within our plan. I kind of almost liken it to the whole concept of a trust, right? Often we'll have people come to the office and they've read something online or they've gone to a dinner seminar that some advisor put on, and it was all about, well, you need to get this trust set up and we'll help you take care of this and we'll get it implemented. And they say, like, do I need to do that? I was like, well, explain to me what is the purpose of this entity, this trust, right? And usually it's like, I don't know, I just keep hearing I need one. And I was like, yeah, of course, because like it's a great talking point, right? It's a great hook for a seminar to get people to come in. It's a great article on CNBC or anything. But if you're going to spend the money, are you achieving what you think you're achieving with it, right? The same thing applies to life insurance. Big advocates of life insurance as long as it's for a purpose. And most of the time, when we're looking at the retiree market, it's pretty difficult to make a case for it, right? And that's not everyone's situation, but we had a great example just last week of a gentleman who came in and he's getting ready to retire, has a portfolio of about $2 million. In his early 60s, they've got no debt, adult children, independent adult children. And he said, well, he only has work life insurance, right? So a group policy. He's like, well, I'm really concerned about kind of losing my group policy, which is, roughly $1 million or so. And he said, I've been getting some quotes. I'm older now. I can get insurance, but it's expensive.
Expensive, yeah.
And I said to him, okay, well, you've got this $2 million in your 401k. I said, if something happens to you and his wife, he and his wife were in the meeting, I said, I hope you've got her on it, right? And he's all like, yeah, like I have a choice.
Beneficiary, yes.
Who the beneficiary? Of course, we were just joking around, but of course it's the spouse as a beneficiary. I said, well,
right.
Isn't that kind of like your life insurance policy? Right? Like something happens to you, all this wealth that you've accumulated that we're going to generate income from for you, it just becomes hers. Your kids don't rely on you financially. That's everyone's kind of dream is, right? Yeah, they get up and they go on their own. You don't have any debt. If you want to get life insurance, get it. I just can't justify the cost for you in your financial situation.
So there's purposes for life insurance, and I think all of us think that a life insurance policy is if I die, somebody gets money to support them. But at the same time, as the baby boom generation has moved up into retirement, the insurance companies have come out with things where there's insurance policies that can help us while we're living. So there's living benefits to things. And I don't know that a lot of people realize that. And when we talk about the big fear out there is, what if I lose my health? What if I go into long-term care? What if I need somebody to come and take care of me? These are some ideas that life insurance can also help with as well.
Yeah, so insured products that will guarantee you income or some sort of benefit like that, that is where most of the engagement with boomers is with insurance companies, with life insurance companies, right? It's not on the direct example you gave. Hey, I kick the bucket, X amount of dollars comes into my family, and yeah, I've got a 2 and a 4-year-old. I need it. Right. I need to be responsible for them for hopefully it's no more than 20 years, right? And they're out on their own. That is occasionally you run into somebody who has younger children who's trying to retire, whether it's a second marriage or they got married late in life or whatever it is, occasionally, but it's not the norm, right? That life insurance need is not usually there. Usually the way life insurance companies are being engaged is in what you mentioned. It's for guaranteed income options.
Gotcha. And I think about my wife. If I were to pass away, unfortunately, the men in my life do not. They don't last a long time. I do not have that 90-year-old grandfather. A lot of the men in my life have died in 65 to 70, and so that's not in my genes. I'm hoping I last a lot longer than that. But at the same time, we know, and you and I have talked about this, that if I pass away, she gets my Social Security, but hers goes away. So I bought a policy that would replace that, and it would make so that she got that money every month, so that she would not have to take a hit in her income. So that's the kind of creative stuff I know that you got to talk through and say, do I really need this, and what are my options?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what that really comes back to is what we always discuss, right? Your situation is different than the next guy who comes in behind you, and that's why you need it personalized.
Yep. And that is why we want to have an opportunity to sit down and talk through it. And right now, there's no reason for you to sit and worry about retirement when all that needs to really take place is a meeting, sit down, go through your numbers, and let's give you the confidence that you need as you go into retirement. Sometimes that's exactly what it takes. Just show it to me on paper. And that's exactly what we'll do at Secure Financial Management. Give us a look on our website, which is retire210.com, retire210.com, or give us a call at 210-895-6200, 210-895-6200. Let's talk through your retirement, give you some confidence as you go to this important and really exciting part of your life. Let's not make it a part of your life that you're just worried about nonstop. Again, 210-985-6200. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll get you next time here on Clear Skies Retirement Radio.